Elvis, we all admit that there are liquidity challenges in the energy sector. And from the way it's going, at one point, we may have to pay either through tariffs or taxes. So the introduction of this levy, as is being justified by the government. Your thoughts on this?
Oh, I've said it several times, I will say it. We are very lazy governments in Ghana. In terms of revenue generation, they just look at the easiest way, and that is fuel.
That's fuel.
That's fuel. So as before this, total taxes and margins on fuel amounts to 2 CD 35 pesos if you buy 1 liter of fuel.
Yeah.
Actually, 10 separate taxes and margins. Okay? So it's the laziest approach for any government, but it's the easiest way to easily get the money, because once people buy the fuel, you get the money.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised. I knew it was coming. The previous government was scared to say they've added money to fuel prices. So they couldn't do it. Even though they have to keep the power on, they could not do it. But I saw it coming because I knew that the government is very broke. We don't have money as a country. And so long as politicians want to politicize issues, we paint a genuine issue as somebody's fault. And then we all pay for it painfully. The energy, the 1 CD we have added now, it has actually increased the total monies we are paying for energy sector to 2 CD 19 pesos. Because prior to this, we have 49 pesos being paid for the energy sector debt recovery levy. And then we have 20 pesos being set for energy debt alone. 20 pesos. And then we have another 10 pesos that we're paying that is for sanitation levy.
Yeah.
But in the 2025 budget, the finance minister said because of the debt in the area, he has encumbered the sanitation levy. So the money will no longer go to sanitation, but will now be used to pay energy debt. So if you add these ones, it amounts to 1 CD 19 pesos for monies that we pay for every liter of fuel we buy that goes to energy sector debt servicing. Then now 1 CD has been brought.
Yeah.
So if you add it to the existing ones, it increases it to 2 CDs 19 pesos that we are paying that is supposed to solve our energy sector problems.
So in total, the taxes we are paying on a liter of fuel is
now it's now 3 CD 35 pesos. If you buy 1 liter of fuel now, your taxes that you are paying in margin is 3 CDs 35 pesos, which has nothing to do with the price of the commodity, freight to Ghana or anything. Simply because government has put in a law that I want to collect taxes through petroleum. That is it.
And you need 4 liters to make a gallon.
So then you calculate
so
how much
a gallon you are looking at about what?
4 CDs, about 2.19 times 4. Not the new one. I'm adding is the old one. So it means that 2.91 times 4, almost 10 CDs you are paying on
a gallon of fuel.
Yes, that is pay the taxes we are paying. That is what we pay now.
Right.
You see, so the issue is that I've always said that politicians should be mindful of what they say. When it's in the campaign process and they want to win, they will say all kinds of things. But then when they are faced with reality, they begin to speak the truth. All that Jinapo is saying today, Jeremy knew all these things in opposition. But because NDC wants power, he painted it as if the previous government is so bad. Okay? That is why we are having what we have. Look, let's look at the debt. Jinapo at his vetting. Okay?
This is John
Jinapo,
the energy minister now.
The energy minister now, at his vetting, said that currently, after the time he was being vetted, the NDC one, that is Mahama one leaving office, the reconciled debt that they left was $2.1 billion. That is what he himself said at the vetting. And that during the transition process, when they sat down with ECG, Energy Commission, and all the institutions, and actually did a reconciliation of the debt at the time NPP is leaving office, the debt was $3 billion. The story is on my journal. I'm the one who said that is what he said. The debt is $3 billion.
Right.
So it means that the NPP inherited $2.1 billion according to the current energy minister. And so if it's $3 billion, it means the NPP within the 8 years are added $900 million. That is what he has said. And then he said that ESLA, within the period, had accrued 45 billion Ghana cedis. However, he noted that while these funds have been used to service part of the principal and interest of the sector's debt, they were insufficient to address the growing liabilities. But in opposition, George Napo said ESLA was enough to solve all the debt in the energy sector. And that it was the mismanagement by the previous government, that is why the energy sector was suffering. But when he was faced with vetting, now he's telling us that the 45 billion with the total amount generated was used to pay part of the debt, but it was not enough for the debt in the sector. So why do we do?
Was not enough to pay
that is it.
billion.
But before that time, when he was looking for power, he said, no, the money is more than enough to solve the problem of the energy sector. Why do we do politics and important things like energy that without it an economy cannot grow?
Yeah.
Why can't we as a country agree that, look, we don't need to play politics with things that we know that without them the economy will suffer. So let's go on with these issues that we have raised about the taxes and the rest. See, as comparison everywhere about e-levy and this, I have said that there's no tax that is not paid by the final consumer. Whether it is e-levy, whether it is petroleum levy, whatever you put the levy, the tax will be paid by the final consumer.
Yeah.
Okay? If a corporation says they make profit and they are paying taxes to the state, that profit they made, it is the final consumer that bought the product. It is the margins they put on the product that the final consumer paid, out of which they made that profit.
Yeah.
So every tax that we talk about in this world, the one who actually is paying is the final consumer.
True.
And when we must get it clear. So you ask yourself, one Ghana cedi increase, all of a sudden, because the finance minister argument that, oh, now the cedi is down and all that. The question is, if the cedi should start rising tomorrow, are we going to remove this tax? Are we going to remove it because the cedi is rising?
I mean, the dollar is rising.
The dollar is rising, and fuel price start going up. Are we going to remove it? So you see, we should be just tell people that, look, we have a problem, and we have to take this painful decision to solve it. If the NDC are not playing politics with these issues, adding one cedi to it today will not be a problem. The previous government never added any additional tax to petroleum to be able to pay this debt. But it kept the light on for 7 years. In the 8th year, we all saw it that the doomsday started back and forth. Because the payment they have done to that point, they realized that they are running short of money. But for 7 years, the power was on without any increment. And if it are to forces vetting, he said, we can manage the economy. We don't need taxes. We don't need more taxes to raise revenue. That is why he said that it's vetting.
Yeah.
So if you say this at your vetting, your first budget, you introduce 4 new taxes. Within the first quarter, you have electricity tariff increases. Now you have gone straight and given us a 1 cedi increment in fuel. Who forced Atufoshi to say that we don't need to raise more, to add more taxes? Why didn't you tell us that, look, we are a growing country and our revenue is there, that when we look at all the domestic revenue we generate, when we pay statutory payment, we make statutory payments, we pay interest on our loans, and then we pay salaries. Almost all the money we collect in this country is finished. So we are not generating enough. And therefore, we need to generate more to be able to pay our liabilities. And therefore, Ghanaians should bear with government that there will be more taxes, but this is the purpose. That communication will be clearer. But when you give people hope that you don't need to bring more taxes to raise revenue, and all of a sudden, less than 6 months into your government, you are hitting us with about 5 taxes because in the budget there were 4. And then now there's a 5th one, which is the energy. Then how do you expect?
5th one they defend and say it's not new, it's existing, it's just a quantum.
No, please stop that. Every tax is by law, and whether increment or reduction is by law. Why is that they didn't just why is that they didn't just increase it without going to parliament?
No, I mean you have to go through the process.
Why is that they didn't increase if it is something that exists?
You have to go through the process, but doesn't necessarily mean it's new.
What is not new?
The energy sector levy.
What do you mean it's not new? I've given you the ones that existed before they came to power. I have given you, and this is sometimes they discredit themselves in so many ways, and sometimes I feel sad for them because the energy sector levy that existed even before this time, it was Setekpek that brought it that low. If you look at the growing debt in the energy sector, the biggest risk to the economy is the energy sector. So we need to do something about it. I think the party should be proud and say that we found a problem that is key to Ghana. We have brought a solution to it. Despite the fact that people feel that it's a tax, it is a way that we are going to solve a problem. But you don't create the impression as if adding taxes to fuel is bad. Okay? Then let's talk about why we are here. Then all this argument is why are we here?
Elvis, I'll come to you on why we are here.